Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari struggles have reached a critical point. After a rocky start to 2025 and growing frustration, could Hamilton be questioning if it's all still worth it? Let's break down what's really going on. Could Lewis Hamilton walk away from Formula One at the end of 2025? According to former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher, it's a real possibility if things don't improve at Ferrari soon. Schumacher fears Hamilton might soon reach a breaking point, suggesting, "I'm not doing this to myself anymore." After his blockbuster switch from Mercedes to Ferrari last winter, Hamilton's much-anticipated debut season has gotten off to a rocky start. While he snagged an early win in the Chinese Grand Prix sprint race, any momentum vanished just 24 hours later when he was disqualified from the main race. So far, Hamilton hasn't finished higher than 5th in any of the first 5 races, and last weekend's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix saw him a distant 7th, almost 31 seconds adrift of teammate Charles Leclerc, who celebrated Ferrari's first podium of the year. Speaking on Sky Germany's Backstage Pit Lane podcast, Schumacher, brother of Ferrari legend Michael Schumacher, painted a worrying picture of Hamilton's current struggles. "He just can't cope with the car. We talk a lot about Lando Norris, but it's almost worse with him," Schumacher said. "You can see that he's really slumped over. If you're standing there at some point and have no more resources and are permanently slower, then you lose everything." Reflecting on his own experience, Schumacher added, "If it goes on like this, it's no fun anymore. Then at some point he wakes up in the morning and thinks to himself, 'Why am I doing this to myself? I'm no longer having fun. I can't do it anymore. I'm getting in the way of my team.' If it goes on like this, there's a risk that at some point he'll say, 'Look, I don't want this anymore. I want to live my life now. I'm 40 years old. I'm so rich. I'm not doing this to myself anymore.' Obviously, it's not working out for some reason." Schumacher emphasized the scale of the challenge. It's a huge project that Ferrari and Hamilton had in mind, but at the moment he's a long way away from Charles Leclerc. "I wouldn't have thought it would be so extreme." However, he also pointed out there's still hope. China also showed that as soon as he gets into the car and the track and the car suit him, he delivers. There's still something to come. Meanwhile, Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur is standing firmly behind Hamilton, even as the 7-time world champion himself admitted his bosses are not happy with his current form. "I will be 2,000% behind him," Vasseur declared. "I will give him support, and we will start from tomorrow morning to try to find solutions and reasons and to work on it early in the morning. But honestly, I am not too worried." Vasseur pointed to Hamilton's flashes of pace earlier this year as proof the potential is still there. If you have a look at what he did in China, or what he did in Bahrain, or even on the first part of the session this weekend, the potential is there for sure. We just have to adjust the balance because we are, collectively, Lewis and us, struggling with the balance of his car and how he is working the tyres. It's a kind of negative spot, but the potential is there and we will try to solve that. When a reporter suggested Hamilton's form had dropped dramatically, Vasseur didn't hold back. "It's not dramatically," he snapped. "We did 5 races so far. I know that you want to have the big headlines tomorrow that Fred said this, but this is fucking bullshit. At the end of the day, we are in competition. You have ups and downs." Using Max Verstappen as an example, Vasseur continued, "I'm not sure that you draw the same conclusion with Max last week when he was 7th in Bahrain. It is like it is. The competition is tight. You have 10 cars and a couple of tenths. Have a look at Max. He won in Japan. He finished 30 seconds behind Oscar Piastri in Bahrain, and in Saudi Arabia, he was P2 and had pole position." He concluded with a call for calm. "We just have to stay calm. You can do whatever you want. I don't want to worry for you. At least for us as a team, we have to work step by step. I think it paid off last year to do hundredths of seconds and hundredths of seconds, and we need to keep the same approach. I will never be the guy who says we are world champions or we are nowhere. We are a team. We are struggling on the weekend. We have good results on the weekend. It's just that we have to improve step by step and stay calm." Hamilton's Ferrari chapter started with a bang, snagging pole and a sprint victory in China. But that early high is quickly feeling like a distant memory. Since then, he struggled for results and battled to adapt to the SF25, sparking a wave of downbeat remarks. From admitting there's no fix for his current issues to warning of a painful 2025 season ahead, Hamilton's comments are starting to echo the self-critical tone of his tough final year at Mercedes, where he suffered a heavy 19-5 qualifying defeat to George Russell. So far, Hamilton hasn't finished a Grand Prix ahead of Leclerc, and his one-lap pace has become a growing concern. 0.6 slower than Leclerc in Bahrain, and just over half a second adrift in Jeddah. Appearing on the F1 Nation podcast, Brundle explained what the data reveals about Hamilton's struggles, and how Leclerc is making the difference. He's talked about moving the car toward him, and he's talked about moving himself towards the car, Brundle said. I look at the data from Lewis every weekend, and the trait is the same. Diving into the specifics, Brundle continued. He goes into the high-speed corners. He hits a little bit more brake pressure than Leclerc, and you can draw a line directly up the wheel speed graph to the steering trace, and the brake aligned perfectly with a tiny little bit of movement. So, he just upsets the Ferrari, like everywhere. Leclerc is just Mr. Measured on the brakes. I saw the data with Lewis having a bit of a problem with the same thing at Mercedes. Hamilton stepped into the Ferrari seat, vacated by Carlos Sainz, who initially also struggled after his move to Williams. But Sainz now seems to be finding his footing, delivering strong performances in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, including a season-best P8 finish last time out. Brundle pointed out that this now puts even more pressure on Hamilton to adapt. Can he coach himself out of a lifetime's worth of driving technique to move towards a car? Brundle wondered aloud. We'll find out. Drawing comparisons to Sainz's resurgence, he added, You look at Carlos Sainz at Williams now. Great weekend for Sainz. Qualified in the top 6, got points and has completely engaged with their way of doing. Lewis is still behind the game at Ferrari, so you wonder if it's going to be possible. Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur has confirmed that the next major upgrade for their 2025 Formula One car will arrive at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix next month. After a rocky start to the season, Charles Leclerc's brilliant podium drive in Saudi Arabia provided a much-needed boost. But Ferrari knows the SF25, in its current form, simply isn't enough to catch the runaway McLaren MCL39. Leclerc pointed out that Ferrari's struggle to unleash speed over a single lap has been a key weakness, undermining the team's otherwise improved race day performances. Vasseur was quick to agree with his driver's assessment. If we are not further ahead, it is because of qualifying, that is clear, Vasseur said. The pace has always been very good in the race. We need to be more consistent over the whole weekend in all sessions and do a better job. Clearly we have weaknesses, I think especially in qualifying. The good news for Ferrari fans. Vasseur hinted they've zeroed in on exactly where the SF25 is falling short, and they're already working on it. We have to be honest with ourselves and analyze the situation, Vasseur continued. When you understand where the problems are, you can work to solve them, and we think we have understood where to intervene. We keep the same approach as last year and think race by race. Hamilton's struggles at Ferrari are clear, and the pressure's only growing. With Ralf Schumacher warning he might walk away and upgrades not arriving until Imola, the next few races could define his future. Can Lewis turn it around, or is this the beginning of the end? Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, like, and subscribe.